This is Maui, and he is a 6-year-old golden retriever, and he is in his second home, potentially going to a third home. He was owned by an older couple that was just completely outdogged by a young, out-of-control golden retriever. I think, unfortunately, what happens when people get older dogs or rehomed dogs or rescue a dog, a lot of the time people think it's going to be a little bit easier to bring an older dog in because, hey, they're already crate trained, they're already house trained, you know, they're already trained, they already listen. Unfortunately, that is just not the case. If you're someone who's thinking about getting an older dog, rehoming a dog, rescuing a dog, that I think you're really going to appreciate, hi buddy, today's video. Today we're going to be breaking down some of the most important exercises that I feel you need to work on when bringing a new dog into your home. I'm Kayl, this is Maui. Welcome back to McCann Dogs. I've been told that Maui is a bit of a handful. He lives at home on a farm. He spends most of his day chasing chickens and swimming in the pond. And when he's not doing that, he's pretty much locked in a laundry room because he's a bit of a hellion. So I don't really know what Maui knows today. So when I show you these exercises, I'm going to treat him just like I would any new dog bringing into my home. And that's exactly what you're going to do with your dogs as well. We don't want to assume that our dogs are coming to us with a list of great skills that we get to use. We need to make sure that we're starting off from the beginning, letting our dogs know that it's important that they listen to us, but we also need to make sure that we're doing it in a way that our dogs learn how to listen to us correctly from the beginning. So we're going to start right from the basics. So the first thing I'm going to work on with Maui is going to seem really simple, but it's actually going to be one of the most important things that you can work on, especially with a dog that you're not that familiar with. I need to be able to reach down and take a hold of Maui's collar to put a leash on, to redirect him, to get control. And when we're working with dogs that we don't really know, reaching down to take a hold of their collar can cause the dog to react many different ways. If you have a dog that's a little bit nervous, you know, reaching down to take a hold of their collar can be a bit intimidating and scary, or you might have a dog that's, you know, a bit rambunctious like Maui is, and I would bet that if he was in an off-leash situation and I was to reach down and take a hold of his collar, he's the type of dog that would sort of jump away from me and say, haha, catch me if you can, which it doesn't really bode well for my control. So I am going to start training him right from the beginning that moving in close and allowing me to take control is actually a really, really good thing. And now this is going to seem easy, but there's a couple little parts of it that are important to get right so that this works for the long term for you. So I have a couple treats ready here, and I'm going to get them ready. Hopefully not drop them on the floor. I'm going to draw first Maui in close to me, and then once he's in close, then I'm going to reach a hold of his collar before rewarding. Now the reason why I'm doing it in that order is I want him to learn that coming in close is a good thing. I don't want to have to reach out and try and snatch him. I want him to learn to come in close. And I would literally just repeat that a few times. I would draw him in close, take a hold of his collar, yes, and then reward, good boy. And I'm going to try it again. Draw him in close, good boy. Take a hold of his collar and then reward. Now you'll notice as soon as I take a hold of his collar and I've rewarded him, I release him right away. I can start to build duration so that I'm holding his collar longer and longer and longer. Oh, you want to do it again? But what I need to make sure that I'm doing is making the point when my hand is in the collar the most valuable thing. Okay, let's maybe not jump on me, but I'm glad you want to do things. That's good. So I'm going to hold this collar a little longer this time, drawing him in, taking a hold of that collar, and I'm really taking a hold of it. I'm not being shy about it. Good boy. I might rub my hand around a little bit. Yes. Good for you. Yes. Excellent. And again, I'm going to let go and the rewarding stops. So the best part about this is when my hand's in close. Now, you can see we have a pretty busy dog. I have the leash on and I'm just standing on it because if I wasn't standing on it, Maui would be somewhere off in the house doing his own thing. So make sure that when you're training your dog that you do have a leash attached. You can either hold it in your hand or you can step on it just to encourage your dog. Good choice, bud, to stay in close when you're training these types of things. Now, this is something that I would do several times a day for the first couple days that I have my dog home. This is something that I would have my family members do as well. So it's not just me that's getting comfortable taking a hold of the collar. And this is also something that I would do outside of training opportunities. So when I'm actually in a real life situation where I need to put his leash on, I would first get some treats ready, draw him in, take his collar, then I would put the leash on. So I would apply this in those everyday situations until I have a dog that's very comfortable. That way, if I have to reach down and take a hold of him for some reason, we're building a bit of a rapport, we're building a bit of a relationship. So this becomes something that I can easily do. I have a dog that's confident and comfortable with me taking control at any time. The second exercise that I would work on with a new dog is teaching them about their name. Now, for some dogs that you get rehomed, they could come with a name. You may want to keep it, or perhaps you're going to rename them to something else that you prefer. Either way, you can't assume that your dog really knows their name inside out and backwards. So one of the exercises that I love to do is just a bit of a value building skill that teaches the dog that their name is something that's really fun to listen to. Now, this one again is dead easy. You can see that there's a bit of a theme here. I'm trying to put my dog in a situation where it's easy for them to get wins. It's easy for us to work together. I'm building a bit of motivation and understanding. Okay, bud, we're going to do another little easy one. So again, I'm going to have some really good treats ready, or if your dog really likes their breakfast or their dinner, you can certainly do that at breakfast and dinner time when they're already hungry. And literally all I'm going to do is say his name, and 1 second later, I'm going to give him a treat. And again, watch your timing. We're trying to work a little word association. So it'll look like this: Maui, and then feed. Maui, then feed. Good boy. Maui, then feed. Good. Now again, seems easy, but I need to make sure that it's not Maui as I'm already feeding him, because he's not really getting the benefit of hearing his name and then getting a reward. It needs to be name then feed. Now, the other unique thing about the way that we do this little exercise is you'll notice Maui's already looking at me. That's also the point. I am trying to put Maui in a situation where he absolutely cannot be wrong. I'll show you how to make it harder in a second. But when you do this, your dog should be fully engaged and ready for you to say their name. Maui, reward. Maui, and then reward. Good. And you would just do this 10 to 15 times. Maui. Yeah, good boy. Once you've loaded up the name, the next thing you can start to do is see if that name is starting to build a bit of merit. So something that I like to do is just sort of stand and wait for the dog to disengage. And then when he's not paying attention, Maui. Yes, good boy. I can call his name once, Maui, good boy, and then reward. So my goal is that he turns the very first time that I call him. So I'm going to let him disengage again. Maui. Yes, good boy. And if he gives me a good response, I can give him a little jackpot as well. Good boy, yes. So I'm teaching him, when you hear your name, whip around and look at me, and good things will happen. Okay, I have Maui outside now working a little bit more, hopefully on our response to name. And you see I've switched out my leash for a long line. Now, it's starting to rain out here, so we're going to try and get a quick little session in. Luckily, I have my biothane line because it's going to be really good in this gross weather. But again, I've put a lot of value in for his name, so I need to make sure that when I call him, he needs to turn the first time. So I'm going to try a little closer at first. Maui. Yes, good boy. I love that. So I'm going to draw him in close. I can even revisit that exercise from before, where I draw him in close and take his collar and then reward. All right, let's try one more. Okay. Maui. Yes, good boy. Notice how I'm backing away. That's going to build a little bit more drive, make it fun to come to me. We're never going to chase the dog. We're always going to have them chase us. Okay, it's starting to rain. We're going inside now. If you see many of our videos on our channel, you'll see that a lot of our content is directed towards puppies. And a lot of people in the comments will say, well, what happens if I have an older dog? Or what happens if my dog is this age or this age? And the truth of the fact is, it's about the stage. It's not about the age. So if you have a new to you dog that doesn't have a lot of training, or you just want to make sure you're starting off on the right foot, it's important that you do start at the beginning. It's also important that you do some training with your dogs. And one of the things that's really valuable about doing a program is that if you do have a unique situation, you'll be able to talk with specific trainers about how to adapt things for your particular dog. You could take our life skills program. You can find out the information in the description below. You can take it with us in person or online, and that way we would be easily able to adapt things for your particular case. When you're trying to build a relationship with a new dog in your home, it's really important that they view you as a leader. And it's not because they have to, it's because they want to. And one of the things that we are going to suggest that you work on are little non-confrontational exercises that help establish you as a leader and also give you an opportunity to control your dog in situations to make life a little bit easier. So I'm going to give you some examples. We love to teach our dogs how to wait or stay until we release them. And this can be used in all kinds of situations that makes life a little bit easier. You could use it waiting at the door before you go outside so your dog doesn't barge out ahead of you. You could use it when you are driving your dog in the car and you want to open the car door. And you want your dog to wait a second before they jump out into a potentially busy situation. There's lots of times where we need our dogs just to hold on for a second and wait for us to say, okay, it's okay to go now. It's safe to go now, whatever it might be. Now, what we're also teaching the dog here is how to understand that we're going to be clear, consistent, and fair in our rules. And that's something that also helps establish ourselves as a leadership in more of a leadership role. Okay, buddy, let's learn how to do a little bit of a weight exercise. Now, to begin this, now I can tell you for a fact that I know Maui has no idea what this is. So I'm truly going to have to go from the first little step here. So I'm going to start by having just Maui sit beside me, just in a control position. Good boy. I'm just going to reward him for doing that for just a moment. Now, I want you to take note of my leash. I will use the leash if I need to correct him, but my goal is that my leash stays loose. Now, I'm going to tell him to wait, and I'm going to step out directly in front of him. And the reason why I'm standing this close, yes, good wait, is because I'm trying to prevent Maui from moving. If I was to say wait and go, yes, halfway across the room, there's a chance that he could get up. Good boy, wait. Now, when I first start this training, wow, bud, I'm simply going to pivot out in front of him for just a few moments, and then I'm going to come back to his side and then tell him when it's okay to move. Look at me. Hey, you. Okay. Yeah, good boy. And then we can try that again. Now, what I can start to do here, bud. Hey, what's this? Hello, hello, good, sit. What I can start to do once that's successful is I can start to build a little bit more duration and maybe add a little bit of small distractions. Wait, wait, good boy. Whoops. So if he gets up, I'm just gonna use my verbal. I'm gonna place him back, wait. Yes, good boy. Oops. So if I do a distraction, I'm just gonna mark that. I'm gonna place him back and I'm gonna try going a little closer, wait. Yes, good boy. So if Maui makes a mistake, my goal is to let him know, but then to immediately make it easier. Good boy, good wait. Yes, wow, buddy, good boy. Wait, I'm gonna go a little further away. Yes, good boy, well done. I'm gonna pivot back to his side. And then when I'm ready, I'm gonna give him a really clear release command because I want him to wait until I release him. Okay. Good boy, Mal. That was pretty good. Excellent. I've changed the location. So now we're in the kitchen. Hey, Mal. What's this? Good boy. Now, when I release him, it's important that I let him know that he truly can get up. If I just stand here and say, okay, you can see nothing happens. He doesn't really know what that word means. So I'm actually, oops, you got to wait for me though, bud. What I'm going to do is get his attention. Mal, look up here. Yes. Okay. Yes, good boy. I break my body posture and I let him know that he needs to, that it's okay for him to move. Again, going back to being clear and consistent, I don't want to leave anything up for him to guess about. Now, what I would start to do with a dog like this is start to build a little bit of distance and duration and distraction. But with a dog who hasn't really had a lot of previous training, I'm not going to hit him with all three things at the same time. As you can see, he was okay with one or the other, but going at a distance, doing distractions, and then making him sit there forever would have just led to him making lots of mistakes. So my goal would be to build on one at a time until he was an expert, and then I could bring in some of the other things. And we call those the 3Ds: distance, duration, distraction. We like to use those as proofing exercises for all the things that we train our dogs to do, but we're a little bit strategic on how we introduce them to the dog because the goal is that we're building on success and repetitions. We're going to move the weight exercise now to work on some threshold training. So I can use that same behavior to work on getting him to sit. Sit. Yes, good boy. My leash is loose, and I'm going to see if I can step out of the door. Wait, with him remaining inside. Oops, oops. Sit. So I'm going to place him back. Yes, there we go. Good boy. Oops. Wait. Yes, there. Good boy. Good wait. Now note that I'm not holding him back. He's got to use a little bit of his own self-control there. If he does decide to come out the door, though, I'm going to stop him and place him back into a sit. Oops. Sit. Now again, I'm not asking him to sit a bunch of times here. I'm just showing him how by using a bit of leash pressure. Good boy, Mal. Good boy. Oops. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Oops. Sit. Okay, so see, I've corrected him a bunch of times now. Sit. Good boy. Yes. There we go. I need to get a reward in, and I'm going to get a release in. Okay. Yay! Good for you. Okay, come here. Let's try it again. Now, the thing that's important about dog training is that you should try the same thing a bunch of times. Okay, sit. Wow, wait. That was way better than the first time. Good boy. Okay. Wow, Mau Mau. Can you do it one more time? Up, up, up. Here. Here. Sit. Good job. Oh, that's cute. I'll take your little paw. Good. I actually really like that. I think he's like getting a little more into it now. Wait. Wait. Wow. Perfection. Yes. He's clever, this guy. Oops, oops, oops. Sit. You got to wait till I say, though. Good boy. Yes. Good. So by reminding him that you got to wait for me, I'll help him to understand that he needs to listen. Good boy. Oops. You're not quite ready for me to talk to the camera and train you at the same time. That's understandable. Yeah, I see time to learn. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Sit. Good boy. Wait. There. Yes. Good boy. And then, okay. Well done, bud. Good for you. The last little skill I'm going to share with you is one that's a little bit about emotional control, impulse control, if you will. And we're going to use this bed here, and I'm going to work a little bit on teaching him how to remain on the bed, even when there's temptations. And this is going to be especially important if you have a dog that's going to be around when you're eating dinner, especially if you have kids in the house. This is going to be a really practical one. Now, again, I don't know Maui. I'm not even sure he knows how to lay on a bed. So this is all going to be very interesting discovering this for the first time. Woo! You got a little freebie there, my friend. So again, my leash is on so I have control, but I'm going to try dropping it this time. And I'm just going to lure him onto the bed. Good boy. Yes. And I'm going to see if I can get him laying down on the bed. There we go. That wasn't so hard. Good boy. Again, I don't know what he knows, so I'm not just going to say on your bed and then see if he does it. I'm just going to help him to be successful. Good boy. Now that he's laying on the bed, what I'm going to start to do is an exercise that we call rule outs. So I'm going to place some food in my hand and I'm going to put it out away from Maui. Good boy. And I'm going to see if he can understand that his job is to remain on the bed and resist the temptation. Now, the way that rule outs work is it looks fancy, but it's actually very simple. Okay, you can get off the bed for a second. I have to talk for a second. It's pretty simple. Basically, the more you try to get the food, the more I'm going to withhold the food and not allow it to be an option. The more you try not to get the food, the more I'm going to make it temptation, and then I'm going to reward the dog from there. So you're just simply, all you'll have to do is open your hand and close your hand, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, can you get back on the bed, my friend? On your bed? Good boy. Okay, so we're in the bed. I'm going to take a couple pieces of food here, and I'm going to place them in an open hand. Oops. So we got off the bed, so I'm going to close my hand. Good boy. And I'm going to get him back on the bed. Good. And I'm going to try and open my hand again. Whoops. Okay. So each time he gets up, that's very good. I'm going to close my hand again and back on the bed. Yes, there. That time I was able to open my hand. Yes. And he said, getting off the bed didn't get me anything. Yes, good boy. What if I put it closer? Yes, you're so smart, buddy. I love that you try the paw. I don't want that, though. I don't want that. Yes, good boy. Now, okay, bud. Oh, wait. So remember, the word yes is really important here. And actually, the paw thing at the end there was a good example for you to see how quickly a dog understands what the word yes means. He pawed, he pawed, he pawed. I didn't give him any feedback. The second he stopped pawing at me, I said yes. And he went, oh, I'm supposed to be still. So you can be hyper specific with how you use that word yes, ensuring that your dog understands that that exact moment things are successful. Now, you could progress with this to a food bowl. You could progress to this with maybe some of your kids' toys, maybe some of your dog's toys, and teach your dog that if you see temptations that are around you when you're supposed to be laying on your bed, you need to remain where you are. Wait for me to tell you whether it's okay to get off the bed or not. This is, again, just another opportunity for me to establish a little bit of leadership and control with my dog, all while teaching him to have a little bit more emotional capacity to have self-control to remain there. These exercises are definitely going to help you get started off on the right foot, but to make sure that you keep on track, you need to make sure that you're focused on being a good leader for your dog. And to learn how to do that, you're going to check out that video right there. On that note, I'm Kayl. This is Maui. Happy training.